right, welcome back to the Up and Adam Show. My next guest, I'm very excited about this. 8 years in the league, Redskins, formerly Redskins, now Commanders, of course. Browns, Ravens. He's now an analyst on Monday Night Countdown on ESPN. What else does he do? Oh, he has a new YouTube page everyone needs to subscribe to called RG3 and the Ones. Proud girl dad. You know him. We love him. Robert Griffin III. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great, Kay. How you doing?
I'm really good. Thanks for joining me. Congrats on all the success. I want to get into all of the things, but I'm watching the game last night, right? And I'm on a bit of a workcation, and I'm thinking about what I want to talk to you about. You're coming on the show. And then I just think like, A, you're happy because McVay, that's your boy. He's getting a win and he looks good. Yep. And then I'm like, you just got to be happy anytime you see the Saints logo, because it immediately just brings me back to your start against a team that I love and have always cheered for, the New Orleans Saints. And it was just really one of the best debuts by a rookie quarterback we've ever seen.
No, I appreciate that, Kay. And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't know that my family is actually from New Orleans, Louisiana. Ouch. Both mom and dad, born and raised there. All my aunts, uncles, and cousins all live in New Orleans, Louisiana. I lived there for a year. So to have the opportunity to have my first game of my entire career there with 50 family members able to come to the game and watch truly made it even that much more special.
It's amazing. 320 yards. I remember it very well. 2 touchdowns, 42 rushing yards. You outdueled some guy named Drew Brees, which was insane. Now, last night, the Rams get the win over the Saints, 30-22. They're hot. They've won 5 of 6. It feels like everybody outside of the Niners in the NFC has issues. Are the Rams the biggest threat to San Francisco in the NFC?
Oh, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I think there's still some other teams that are up there in the NFC that, maybe, as you said, are fluctuating, whether it be the Dallas Cowboys or the Eagles. But what the Rams are doing is showing that this year, the amount of parity that there has been across the league in both playoff races, I say that the playoff race right now is double cheeked up on a Tuesday like some apple bottom jeans. So it's kind of crazy how many teams are all fighting for that opportunity to get in. I look at the Rams, and really it starts with Matthew Stafford. He's throwing the ball better than I've seen him throw it in a few years, really since they had their Super Bowl run. And, of course, the great Puka Nacua coming out of nowhere to a lot of people, not to me because I covered him in college. He's been playing his tail off.
Your McVay, who you know well, he's impressing me more this year than he did the year that you just talked about, the year they won the Super Bowl, because no draft picks, no super team, but they're on fire right now at the right time. Is this the most impressive season of his coaching career?
Oh, 100%. And I go way back with Sean. He's our tight end coach in Washington when I was there, and of course became the offensive coordinator a few years later. But when you go from winning a Super Bowl and then you have such a massive down year like they did in the seasons to come, it can challenge you as a coach, because they went from F those picks, if you remember, to all right, well, now I got to coach, because if I don't have any draft picks, I got to coach that much better. And they waited on Stafford last year with the injury. And I've just been impressed with the mental fortitude that Sean has displayed, because he could be doing what we're doing right now. He could be doing 100%. TV. He could be doing podcasts and making a boatload of money doing it. He decided to come back and coach, and he's, impressed me. Not that that really matters. You know what I'm saying? I'm a 33-year-old kid at the end of the day. But what Sean's been able to do this year has been the most impressive of his career.
Let's talk about what you've been able to do. I'm very happy for you. You're crushing it. We can all think back to 2012, the draft stage, you and Goodell, you're an electric young superstar. Would this person we're looking at be surprised about the journey that he's on that's led him to being, one of the hottest, most authentic voices in the business?
Well, first of all, I thank you for the compliment. And I know you've been in the business for a very long time, so that means a lot coming from you. But that guy on that stage didn't understand everything that came with the business of football. And I wouldn't want it to be any other way. The journey that I went on was a journey that God had for me. All the injuries that I went through, all of the turmoil that I went through early on in my career has made me a better man, better dad, a better husband, and, if I get the opportunity again, a better player. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't take any of it back. This journey in TV and broadcasting has been something that I never wanted to do. And for whatever reason, God pointed me in this direction, and it's the best decision I ever made.
It's amazing, and we all win from it because you are so comfortable. You are so authentic. You are so yourself on the air. It's fun to watch. You're a very fun watch. Which compliment that you get, and you get a lot, which compliment do you receive that means the most to you? Like when you hear somebody give you that kind of a dap up, you're like, man, that's the one that I really like.
Well, okay, I think it's twofold for me. The number one thing is most of the time when people come to me and give me some congratulations or props, it's man, it feels like when I'm watching or listening to you call a game or on the broadcast, it's like you're in the living room with me and we're just having a conversation, having a couple beers. And to me, that's the biggest compliment. And then I was on the phone on the show on RG3 and the Ones with Rich Eisen. And Rich told me that Stuart Scott would be proud of what I'm doing. And that meant the world to me because Stuart Scott meant the world to a lot of people. And even though I had no plan on getting into broadcasting, he was a guy that inspired you, cooler than the other side of the pillow. And I just feel like from an OG like Rich to say something like that to me, that meant the world to me. And hopefully I can continue to push the limits and push the boundaries just like you are and make Stuart Scott proud.
Incredibly thoughtful response. It is so cool to talk to you. When you talk about doing things your own way, we got to get into some of this. I'm not like a college gal, but I see what you do, of course, with ESPN on Mondays, and we got to talk to sort of, the authenticity of you. Let's just go through some of your career highlights. I'm going to bring you through your RG3-isms, okay? And I want you to sort of rate them between, let's just say like RG1 is like, oh, I could do better than that. And then RG3 is like the best, okay? So first up, we have this one from Zach Wilson. Let's roll the tape.
If I could have one quote from Zach Wilson after this game, it would be, I'm Zach Wilson. I love throwing bombs and kissing moms. Deal with it.
How do you rate that?
Okay, I mean, let's be honest. That's a 3. That's like it's way overboard. Zach Wilson obviously went to BYU, and they're the Cougars.
Yeah.
So it was a nice, easy opportunity for me to sneak that line in, while also having the fallback that he played at BYU, guys. I don't know. So no, it's certainly a 3. That's over the top.
Smart, and that was like A Star Is Born moment. But then if you're like a producer, if you're like at ESPN corner office, you're like, oh, I heard that. Let's see if he let's see how much he can push the envelope. It's a very interesting thing because then we have you gave us one from college. We can't show the footage, but I'm going to just have to say it. Washington Huskies quarterback Michael Penix Jr. was having a dominating performance, and you described it as, quote, big Penix energy.
Yes.
Rate that.
Yes.
That's a 3. That's a 3.
It's a 3. Come on, Kay. It's a 3. It's a 3. It's honestly, I was calling a game last year for Michael Penix Jr. against Michigan State, and he was tearing it up. And he was playing so well that we're in the booth saying, man, this guy needs a nickname. So I spent about 3 minutes thinking of what a nickname could be for Michael Penix Jr., and then it dawned upon me. And I said, Big Penix Energy. And of course, my guy Desmond takes it to game day this year and completely obliterates it. Wrong pronunciation and everything. And I got to say, Michael Penix Jr. was pretty upset about that. Not gonna lie, he was upset that Desmond mispronounced his name because it is his name. It's his name. You want to get it right, and luckily he's actually taken that. He's taken that nickname and used it in NIL. To make money and give back to charity. So I'm happy to be able to help him with that. That story went somewhere I didn't think it was going to go, but I really, I feel more educated here on a Friday morning. I feel like you should be the authority on nicknames. Like everybody wants to do their Purdy nicknames and puns. Like I think what we all want to create something, we should send it and it needs to fly across the table of RG3 for his approval. Listen, I'm all about helping guys with the nicknames. Purdy's got a bunch of them, right? He's Purdy good. He's sturdy Purdy, baby Bosa. I just call him John Harbaugh. He's John Harbaugh. That's who Brock Purdy is.
Baby John Harbaugh. It's true. Okay, finally, this last RG3-ism. This is one that a game you called between Washington and Michigan State earlier this year.
Yeah.
Is this real? You know what we call that, right? Premature snapulation. RG3.
Oh my gosh. That had to be last year. I'm not gonna say I got a call about that one because I didn't, but it's something that we would like just joke about in the locker room. Like if you had the snapper and the center snapped it too early or something like that, we just call it premature snapulation. And yeah. Listen, I got great producers and they helped me to realize that I should retire that one.
Or they is there no Norby not calling your phone, like come and have none of that?
Listen, Norby's a great man. He understands I'm having a good time, having some fun. And if I do get the call, it's certainly warranted. Let's just say I haven't used that one in about a year, just because, it's on the line, but you gotta pick your battles.
What have you gotten the call about? What have you gotten the call about? What have you gotten the let's ixnay that?
Yeah, so I got a call about okay, we had this game for Oregon State, and you know the Oregon State mascot, right?
No, I don't.
They're the Beavers. They're the Beavers.
God. Oh, God.
So I'm calling the game against Oregon State, and it's against Stanford, the Stanford Cardinal, and it's a tree. So like early in the game, I'm like, hey, let's see how much wood these Beavers can take, right? Something like that. And it wasn't immediate, but I had not gonna lie, I had 6 other really borderline things that I said in that game.
You come with bits. You're like, this is what I want to get out there.
It wasn't that. It's not bits. The majority of 90% of everything that I say is just straight off the top of the dome. But there's a couple, that you can point out. And I got a call after that game because it was way too much. It was egregious. It wasn't like, hey, you're gonna get fired if you keep doing this, but it was like, yo, you probably shouldn't keep doing this. So I worked on all that and had fun and still have fun with it. So this year, Big Penix Energy is just something that Mike has adopted as his nickname. So I continue to call him that. But other than that, I stay away from it now, just to continue to have fun. Unless there's an orgy in the end zone. Alex Orgy, the quarterback for Michigan.
Oh my God. What?
That was a great one. Michigan fans still talk to me about that one. But it's his last name. What can I say? I have to honor his name. Right?
You have to say his name. I understand. I do feel a little like they're going to put you on a game with those sort of mascots. It's like asking a kid not to eat a bowl of candy in front of them. You know what I mean? If they're going to put you in that position, I love you, Seth Markman, and whoever's making these, and Norby's y'all know what you're doing. You're leading an RG3 to an RG3-ism. Okay, let's get into some things I'm gonna have to talk about. Well, we have your new YouTube, RG3 and the Ones. Gronk was on it, which I love. You've had some huge guests, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Sam Howell. What do we need to know about the new platform?
Yeah, RG3 and the Ones, just an opportunity to have a long form conversation, right? I don't like to look at them as interviews, but we've had some great guys on, as you mentioned already, Gronk. Right now, episode that just dropped on Thursday was with Michael Vick, having an opportunity to talk quarterbacks, game changers versus game managers. But for me, it's really just to try to pull at least one thing from each guest that the people that are listening can take and apply to their own lives to help them become the one, right, in their own life. And that's really what it is about for me. I like to motivate every single morning. I send out a tweet of motivation to try to keep people going and keep myself going. So this is just another opportunity to have more than 30 seconds or a minute to express, my thoughts on certain topics and have real conversations about the hottest topics in sports.
Well, congrats on the success. It's got a bunch of subscribers. You started it in the middle of the season. So I already told everybody to go over there and subscribe to it. And we love that. And you guys have a big one on Monday night. Ravens, Niners. Let's talk about it. Ravens are 5.5 underdogs in this one. You spent a lot of years backing up Lamar in Baltimore. He's got a new contract. He's got, Eric DeCosta did his thing. He brought in new receivers, new OC in Monken. Outside of all of those external factors, when you look at Lamar, what has impressed you the most about his evolution from then till now?
Okay, it's a great question. And to me, it's a very simple answer. Lamar this year has been more of an MVP than he was when he won it in 2019.
Mm.
And the reason I say that is Lamar led the league in touchdown passes in 2019 when he won MVP. This year, he's only got 17, right? He's got 17 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and he doesn't have a ton of passing yards. But Lamar Jackson is a player that you look at and you say he is a game-changing player. And we've seen him make game-changing plays. But now Lamar is not just being a game changer, but he's also learned how to manage the game. And I think that's going to pay dividends when the playoffs come, because the playoffs aren't about X's and O's. It's about Jimmys and Joes. And the Ravens have the Jimmys and Joes now, and they have the number 1 defense in the NFL. And their quarterbacks hasn't truly had to be the 5 touchdown a game Superman that he has had to be in the past. So when they get to that point in the playoffs, when they need him to be the end all be all, he will be that. But he also has Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, maybe Mark Andrews comes back, right? Oof. He's got all these new additions to their weaponry. And I think that's why he's been so impressive to me this year.
It's amazing, an amazing answer. On the other side, you've got a guy who has tons of weapons at his disposal. Oh, yeah. Brock Purdy. Now there's the perception that it's all about the system. It's, it's clearly not true. You're part of the reason for that argument. We have over a decade of evidence that shows plenty of quarterbacks did not have nearly the level of success that you did. Right. Matt Ryan, Brock playing in this offense with Shanahan. Right. What does it do to you? What does it do to your insides when you see people discredit Brock as a quarterback?
For me, it's beyond disrespectful for what Brock has done. I know that he was the last pick in the draft and quote unquote Mr. Irrelevant who became relevant. But at the end of the day, when you have this conversation about, is Brock Purdy an elite quarterback? Yes, he is an elite quarterback. Why? What do elite quarterbacks do? They make the right decisions. They make the right throws. They get their guys in position to make plays. And when the play is there, they make it. And Brock Purdy's doing that at a level that I don't think we have seen, but he's having one of the greatest years ever. He's like top 2 or 3 in like 10 quarterback categories, from yards to yards per attempt, touchdowns. He leads the league in touchdown passes. So when they talk about Brock in that way, I just think it's insecurity, right? Brock's not the tallest guy in the world. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's athletic, and he adds that element. Okay, think about 2019 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay. Yeah.
They're doing the same thing they did with Jimmy then, but Brock adds an extra element because he's able to make plays with his feet. And that's what makes this offense so great. Matt Ryan had Julio Jones and a bunch of weapons around him, right? Brock's got a bunch of weapons around him, but you can't punish him for having those weapons. You know, Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce at one point. I didn't hear anybody complaining.
You should want the weapons. You should want your quarterback to have good weapons. It's a weird, crazy. I think it's funny insecurity. There's also this like, how did all these teams pass on him over and over and this way and that way? And no, I don't think anybody wants him to succeed, because then there'd be a lot of, we got it wrong on everybody's plate that they have to deal with. But those are the stories that I love most about the National Football League. We're going to go to break here. I want to ask you in our YouTube break, though, about Kirk Cousins, guys. So let's get one more with RG3. We'll squeeze one, take a short break, and be back here. By the way, who's winning, Niners or Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the Ravens in this one.
We're going with the Ravens in this one. I love it.
But when the play is not there, he doesn't have that extra element. So as a coach, they're all looking for this guy that can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs, and beat you with his mind. Well, Kirk has 2 of those, and he's elite at those 2 things. He just doesn't have that extend the play ability continuously or consistently enough for the fan or the coach to be like, all right, we got him. It's one of those deals where it almost has to be perfect for him, and he can make plays inside of structure. He just is not great outside of structure, and I think that's why he's been frustrated to a lot of fans. But I still think his ability inside the pocket and in structure makes him one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Guys, go subscribe to RG3 and the Ones on YouTube. You can see them on Monday night. Girl, Dad, I'm sure you got all your Christmas shopping done. And don't think that I didn't hear, our show's ending right now, but don't think I didn't hear you say, if I get a chance to play again. I just heard, what? We're going to have to long form that shit at some point and talk about that. I appreciate you, RG3. Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for making the time. And good to see you.
Thank you, Kay. God bless, guys.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe right here. Do it now for the latest from Up and Adams.